Hey guys, Kev here, and I want to do my first impressions on this knife here. This is the TRM, or Three Rivers Manufacturing Shadow. There's some fuzzies in there. So I think what I figured out is, even if I don't do a disassembly, when I do the first impressions, I'm going to do it tabletop. Kind of makes sense to me. So you get my first reaction in the unboxing, where you can see my face and I do, you know, all that stupid shit where I laugh and giggle and snort if the action's good. And then in the first impressions, you can really see the knife, get a good look at it. I can just kind of walk you through what I think so far. And then I can do a full review with the face cam again, and that way you'll have an idea of what the knife is like and all that stuff from this video, and it's not as redundant because you're just seeing me talk saying the same things. So a lot of times first impressions end up being very similar to a full review, right? So if you want, I can bust out ye old, oh god, I sound like fucking Slicey Dicey. Bust this mat out, which has a ruler on it. So here you go. So you guys take a look at this. I know people are really interested in this knife, so whatever. I'll give you guys some specs this time. If I line it up, pretty much, yep, right there, you're looking at an overall length of, what would we call that? 7 3/4 inches. Yeah. Little over 7 3/4 inches. I'm an idiot, so I might say things a little bit off. The handle length on this guy here is 4.5 inches. And the blade length on this guy here is a whopping 3.5 inches. What did I say the handle length was? 4.5. So 4.5 inch handle with 3.5 inch blade. Your cutting length, if I'm getting that correctly, is 3.25 inches. So this is not a tiny knife, guys. This is a relatively large knife. I will compare it to your Benchmade bug out, which somehow got jacked up. It was in the knife case next to this guy, and I think maybe the oil in there, the gun oil and shit in there, leaked out and got up on this and jacked my fucking bug out up, and I'm pissed. But anyway, it's a good comparison since they are both Axis style locks, River-lok, Axis lock. So there's your Benchmade bug out comparison. I know a lot of people will want to see that. Spyderco, Paramilitary 3. Damn, I really sound like fucking Slicey Dicey. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to copy anybody, but these are fucking knives, and they're all the same. So, woe is me, motherfuckers. So, here's your pair of 3. Pair of 3. I'm just kidding. I love how fast people do that, too. They're like, here's your Protect Malibu. Protect Malibu. Boom, boom, boom. Here's your Protect Malibu. Pivot to pivot. Interesting comparison. It is bigger than the Protect Malibu, which I guess if you knew the blade length was 0.2 inches longer, then you would know that, correct? Do I have anything else that everybody would know? Boom, bada, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I think that's about it that everybody would maybe own. Here's my favorite knife, if you want to see that. Well, it's one of my favorite knives right now, is the Urban EC Supply F5.5. So it's substantially bigger than that guy. And then my current favorite knife that I just failed to open, the CKF Evo 2.0. Funny story, I entered a lottery for the first time ever I never do those knife lotteries because I'm like, it's just throwing away money. This is stupid. And I entered one yesterday. I spent $52 and I won the Zerk Damascus like clip one of this knife. It's like $700 knife or something I won. So I have that on the way. That'll be interesting. Anyway, these are extremely comparable. So the few people who have the Evo 2.0, there you go. Man, I love that knife so much. If you can get one of those, just do it. But we're here for the shadow, so I'm going to shut up now. I'm very sorry. I've been carrying this for 2 days straight now. It has not left my pocket because I wanted to be able to do this video and give you guys an idea of what I truly think of this knife. Now, I want to start by talking about the look of it, right? It's a little goofy looking, but I kind of like a little goofy looking. You just saw that Evo. You know, you see this Vox here. It's kind of got a similar vibe. It's got that sheep's footy blade going on. Like, yeah, it's not some super neutral knife like a bug out is. So, you know, but I like it. I like how it's a little bit tall. The blade is freaking huge, right? Look how tall that thing is. By the way, you do have this really nice stone wash on here, so you're not going to get a bunch of fingerprints and scratches and shit. You have that TRM logo there, which is really cool. It's like etched in or whatever. And then you have TRM 20CV, so just so you can see that. But I like the shape of it. It's just different. And the way it ergonomically fits in your hand because of that is extremely good. It is very comfortable. I haven't held it much back here. I've always been using this choil, and that is the most comfortable way to use it. I've opened probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 packages with this. Cut up some cardboard just to see what that would be like. Opened a letter or two and just used it when I could. And yeah, it's really good. So yeah, good on ergos, good on cutting. It's super thin behind the edge. And I like the looks. Now, the lock. So if you saw my unboxing, it came out of the box kind of stiff. But I did not touch it whatsoever. I didn't mess with the pivot or do anything. I just played with it. And it has been fantastic. It just slowly started to drop shut. But one issue I have with this knife, and like I've said before, I love this knife. TRM was very kind to me, but I also need to give my honest feedback and opinion, right? One of the major issues I have is the detent / spring, I guess. I don't know what to call it. This right here. So you see how once I get past, like right, let's see, even there, it doesn't drop. There. That's when that spring kind of kicks in, right? So when you're opening the knife, the issue you have with that is there's not much resistance. So there's like very minimal detent. So you really got to flick it out, which, you know, it's not the biggest thing in the world. If you've used Axis style lock knife before, again, this is called the River-lok, you'll know that feeling and you get used to it. That's just how an Axis lock is, right? This one's a little weaker than others. Like the bug out, I tend to, when I flick it, that thing flies out. I'll just show you right here. When I flick that, it shoots out. It's really hard to feel it. Yeah, I can feel that. I can do this. But you see that? I barely, and it shoots all the way out. I have an Asher Knives Nomad here. Also has an Axis style lock. And so I don't know if it's the angle, like the stud is in a good spot here where you're pushing up instead of out, and then you kind of fire it up. Whereas with this guy, I'm coming from here and my angle is like out. So I don't know. But I just noticed it's a little harder to shoot it out than others. But again, it's a knife. You get used to how it functions and then you're good at it. The more problematic issue with that for me has been on the close. It'll like bounce off and come back out like that. And that happens to me all the time. I'll be flipping it and I won't close all the way, or I'll do that and it'll bounce off. So it's just, again, a feel thing where you get into a rhythm and you're like, okay, this is how you open, this is how you close, and then you just start swinging that baby, you know, and you're good to go. But I wanted to note that because that's one gripe I have with the knife, but it's not like a killer or anything, and most people are going to be perfectly fine with how it is and probably actually love it because when you pull on the River-lok, it drops shut. And if you're not a fidget monster, you can wait a second and let it drop, you know? So I think it's good in the action department. I just wouldn't call it great, where like a bug out is great in the action department. Hope that makes sense. The clip is fantastic. It carries very well because it's so thin. My last little gripe with this knife, I really enjoyed everything about it so far, and I just have these two gripes. That action thing where it's good, not great, and these thumb studs, which are, if you can see there, they have like a lip on them. So it's like a button top and then a lip around it. And what happens to me coming out of my pocket is I pull on it and that lip catches on the inside seam of my pocket or something, the outside seam. I wish I could demonstrate this. Let me see. Where you fit on here. Sorry, I'm doing this like willy-nilly. So this is my pocket, right? I'm a lefty, yeah. So I go to pull the knife out. Is that how I pull it out? It feels weird. Yeah, okay. So I go to pull the knife out, and then I guess it's the angle I pull it out or whatever. As it's coming out, this stud catches, that lip catches on my jeans, and then, boop, I end up with an Emerson wave deploy type deal. And I've done it 2 times now where I pulled it out, and it literally was fully deployed in my hand. And I was like, oh, shit. Right? Because now I got a deployed knife I wasn't expecting. And it just took me a second to be like, oh, okay. And let me close it, right? And then another time I think I did it, and it was like this when it came out. So to me, that's a bit of an issue on the carry. But I've talked to other people, like my buddy Jake, Bearded Gear. He has one of these, and he has had no issues with that. And these are the same shape of thumb stud that were on the Birch Tree Secant, and I loved that knife, but it had these type of thumb studs, and I had the same thing happen with those. So I think it might be like a personal thing, like my jeans, they're a little ripped up, or maybe because I'm a little fat and they're a little tighter than they should be. Maybe when it comes out, I'm pulling it on a weird angle or something. I don't know. It doesn't happen very often, but it has happened, and I want to mention it. So other than those two things, this thing is a home run, especially for a company that is doing their first type of like Axis style lock. They absolutely nailed it. It feels much sturdier than an Axis lock does. I feel way more confident in it. I can even do like one button. You know, you can just pull like one button down and it works if you're not under a camera. Hang on. Whatever. It works. So you can do one button. It doesn't feel like it's going to break apart when you do that, you know? When you pull on one side, it just pulls the other side with it. You know what I mean? There's no shake in here. Like, there's very minimal movement on that bar, which some of them are, like, crooked when you do that. Just really well done. The fact that it's so thin, the fact that it basically is a lefty knife at this point because they flipped the pivot for me and the clip is amazing. And then lastly, the fit and finish is fantastic on this knife. Everything is chamfered perfectly. Everything is smooth that should be. Everything is razor-ass sharp that should be. And it slices like a demon. Just, I mean, look at this. I mean, this flat grind, most of the way down the blade. It just feels so good. It's so thin behind the edge and sharp. It's a freaking excellent knife. Excellent knife with a capital K, guys. Like, it as a knife, it is 100% one of the best I've ever handled, I think. I know I'm going a little far here, but like the Neutron I had, same thing. Just as a knife, as a cutter, you know, what it's meant to do, that's what it's really good at. It's fun to fidget with. Maybe not as fun as some other Axis style lock ones, but I like how it's a little bigger and a little wider, and you know, I like that. It carries well. It has a deep carry clip that goes to the butt end. I mean, those things are great, but as a knife, it's exceptional. So that's kind of my take right now on this sucker after a couple days. I gotta run, gotta go pick up the daughter, and if I'm late, my wife's gonna kill me. So I absolutely love you guys. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will catch you later.